Okay, we're back.
We're enough. I'm calling in from the home studio today. It's a bit quieter here than the main booth, which I actually appreciate.
A little sanctuary. It's a good vibe. Honestly, after that storm the other night, I think we all need a bit of a controlled environment.
Exactly. So, let's get back to the deepfake of the ancient world. We're looking at Antoine Faivre's analysis of how Hermes the Greek messenger jets this massive, heavy, author of all knowledge rebranding.
Right, because he's not running errands for Zeus anymore. Suddenly, he's the guy with the library.
Exactly. Look at this Faivre coins to these wild numbers. He mentions Manetho reporting 36,525 books, and Seleucus claiming 20,000.
20,000? Okay, that's not a library, that's a database.
It's more like a mythological hoard. And the crazy part is, he's talking about more than philosophy. He quotes Clement of Alexandria, saying there were these specific roles in Egyptian service. You had a cantor who had to memorize 2 books of Hermes just to lead hymns.
So it was literally part of the liturgy. Like, don't forget your Hermes lyrics before the service starts.
Precisely. And then you have the astrology and metaphor books dedicated specifically to the planets. But it gets even more visceral. He mentions these pastophori, the people carrying images of the gods who had to know 6 other books.
And what were those about?
Medicine. Books on treating the body, organs, even questions concerning women.
So the divine messenger is also the cosmic doctor. It's all connected.
It is, and Faivre makes this really sharp point here. He says the sheer volume of these attributed books might actually be why he transitioned from a god to a historical person.
Wait, how so?
Think about it. If a god is just an Olympian, he's a character in a myth. But if a man leaves behind a massive, organized library of medical, astronomical, and legal texts, he starts to look like a historical sage, an inventor, a founder. He gains weight in history.
He becomes a person you can actually track through the archives. That's a clever rebrand. Oh, someone's at the door.
That's probably the courier I was expecting. Hold on, Emily. Okay, I'm back. Just the usual delivery.
Did you get more ancient manuscripts?
Just some coffee and more research papers. But look, this leads right into the next part, which is even more cinematic. Faivre talks about these scenarios, this idea of finding hidden wisdom in tombs.
Like a treasure hunt.
It's such a trope. He describes this ritual where people would go to a statue of Hermes in Achaia, place coins in its hand, and whisper prayers into its ear. Then, and this is the part that kills me, they'd walk straight to the market, open their ears, and interpret the very first word they heard as the god's direct answer.
No way! That is the most chaotic way to get an oracle. What should I have for lunch? Bread.
It's pure, beautiful madness. It blurs the line between a divine message and just random urban noise.
But that's the whole point of the deepfake, isn't it? The identity of the god and the sage becomes completely unstable.
Exactly. Faivre shows how this spreads into the urban founder myth. There's this text, the Picatrix, describing a city called Adocentinus, built by Hermes. It has gates shaped like an eagle, a bull, a lion, and a dog. He even put speaking spirits in the gates.
So you can't even enter the city without a verbal waybill.
Exactly. And it's more than just cities. It's the discovery trope. The idea that someone, maybe an alchemist, maybe a traveler, stumbles upon a hidden chamber or a tomb.
Like the Book of Chests, he mentions.
Yeah. This beautiful scene where a narrator is lifted into the air, following the sun and moon, and suddenly finds himself looking at an old man in white robes. He asks, "Who are you?" And the answer is, "I am Hermes Trismegistus, and this book contains the secrets I hid from humanity."
So that every generation would have to seek them out.
That's the heart of it. The wisdom isn't lost, it's just waiting to be found.
Even if you have to dig through a few thousand attributed books to find it.
Okay, so I've been digging through this section where the legend stops being just a list of books and starts becoming a full-blown epic. It's like a first-person narrative.
Oh, I love a good memoir. Who's telling the story this time?
It's a character called Apollonius, and he starts off, well, pretty bleak. He says, "In my homeland, I was an orphan. I was destitute."
Oh, poor guy.
but he finds a statue of Hermes on a golden column, and the inscription is basically a challenge. It says, "I have displayed these wonderful signs openly, but now I have hidden them with my wisdom, so that no one can reach them unless they are as wise as I."
So it's a keep out sign for anyone without a PhD.
Exactly, but then there's a specific instruction on the statue's chest in Cyrillescom. It says, "Let him who wishes to know the secrets of creation and nature look beneath my foot."
Wait, so he looks under the foot?
He does. He says he was young and timid, but his spiritual nature grew strong enough to start digging. And he finds this underground chamber. But it's not a magical glowing room. It's pitch black, and there are these constant howling winds. He says he couldn't even light a torch.
That sounds terrifying. Just trapped in the dark with nothing but the wind.
He was literally tormented by frustration. He couldn't even sleep. But then, out of the dark, this man appears. He looks just like Apollonius.
A doppelganger?
Right? And this man tells him, "Place your light in a glass vessel." And then, this is the kicker. He says, "I am your own being, perfected and subtle."
Oh wow, that's deep. It's not an external god. It's a reflection of his own higher self.
It ties back perfectly to what we were saying about the deep fake nature of this figure. The discovery isn't about finding something outside of yourself. It's about uncovering a hidden layer of your own consciousness.
It's like a psychological ritual. He digs into the earth, which is the unconscious, and finds his own perfection.
Exactly. And when he finally enters the room with that light in the glass, he finds the legendary setup, an ancient man on a golden throne holding the emerald tablet.
There it is, the centerpiece, the secret of the world and the knowledge of nature.
But look how the text expands this. This isn't just one story. Faivre shows how these new tales started blooming all over the Middle Ages. He mentions the Grail legends, the green as grass reliquary, and how scholars think the Grail might actually come from the Greek crater, the cup of Hermes.
So the Grail isn't just a cup, it's a symbol of this Hermetic essence being passed down.
Precisely. And it gets a little bit more wild with the timelines. He mentions this idea that the patriarchs Adam, Noah, Abraham had all this divine knowledge, but it was lost or corrupted by things like magic or war.
So it's a constant cycle of loss and rediscovery.
Yeah, and he brings up this massive, dizzying chain of authority. He lists names like Enoch, Abraham, Moses, Zoroaster, Pythagoras, Plato. It's like a spiritual LinkedIn for the ancient world.
It's a total who's who of the occult.
But notice how it shifts. By the Renaissance, it's about finding a marriage. He talks about the Hermetic Kabbalistic tradition, this massive fusion of the rediscovered Corpus Hermeticum and the Jewish Kabbalah.
The synthesis, bringing the Greek and the Hebrew together through the word.
Right. But here's the tension. While some were celebrating this synthesis, others were trying to clean it up. He mentions how some commentators actually cut out the more magical or scary parts of the texts, like the parts about magic statues that upset St. Augustine.
So they were trying to rebrand him again, making him more respectable, less, well, magical.
Exactly. They were turning the master of magic into a more polite Apollonian figure, a messenger of light and reason rather than this gritty, underground, earth-digging sage.
From the shadows of the tomb to the light of the academy. It's the same deep fake, just a more polished version.
All right, we're diving back into the heavy lifting. We left off with that incredible, almost hallucinogenic vision of the discovery of the hidden text. But now, the text gets a bit of a reality check.
Oh, here we go. The fun police are entering the chat.
Exactly. It's 1614. The deepfake is under investigation. A Protestant scholar named Isaac Hessobon comes along and basically does a forensic audit on these texts. And he proves they weren't written by an ancient sage sitting in a tomb. They were written in the early Christian era.
Ouch. That's a huge blow, right? If the ancient wisdom is actually just a few centuries old, the whole Prisca Theologia, the idea of this unbroken chain from Adam Just, snaps.
It should. Faivre says some people were devastated. The authority was tied to the age. But, and this is the fascinating part, he says the disappointment was actually compensated for.
How? How do you recover from being told your sacred library is a recent forgery?
because the vacancy was immediately filled by new, even more mysterious groups. He mentions the Rosicrucians and the rise of German Theosophy. The energy didn't vanish, it just migrated.
So the vibe was more important than the date.
Precisely. Look at this. He gives this wild example from 1684. A guy named Kriegsmann writes this book claiming that Hermes Trismegistus is actually the founder of the German people. He links Hermes to Canaan, to Thoth, even to the very origins of Germany.
He's literally rewriting the national identity using Hermes as the branding agency.
It's a rebrand, and then it gets even more global. He brings in this Jesuit, Joachim Bouvet, who was writing to Leibniz about the I Ching.
The Chinese Book of Changes?
Yeah, and Bouvet is looking at this ancient Chinese text and saying, this is it. This is the wreckage of the most magnificent ancient philosophy. He claims the I Ching is a visual symbol invented by a genius like, you guessed it, Hermes Trismegistus, to represent the most abstract principles of science.
So he's connecting the Greek-Egyptian tradition to ancient China? He's saying they're all looking at the same shattered mirror?
Exactly. He even goes so far as to say that the I Ching is actually, well, it's Enoch, or Zoroaster, or Hermes. He's blurring all the lines. He says the system is a universal symbol for the highest intelligence.
It's like he's trying to find a single, universal source code for the entire human race.
And it doesn't stop with the scholars. He mentions this literary version in 1727 by Claude de Ramsay. It's this epic story about a character named Cyrus. He finds this second Hermes who was raised by a goat on a desert island.
A goat? Okay, we are definitely back in the mythological.
It's wild. But the point Ramsay is making is the same as the scholars. He's saying all these different mythologies, Egyptian, Persian, Greek, are just different names for the same ideas.
The polyphonic truth. The melody is the same, even if the instruments change.
But look, there's a darker, more modern side to this. Faivre brings us back to the presence of Hermes in the city. He moves from these ancient legends to Mad Max.
Wait, what? Did I hear that right? Mad Max?
He really does. He says you find the spirit of Hermes in Intergy sections, in the fictional city of Edocentinus, in the streets of Amsterdam, in the film The Green Face, and even in George Miller's Mad Max, Beyond Thunderdome.
I mean, I guess a wasteland is the intersection of chaos and survival.
It's the liminal space. Hermes is the god of the crossroads, the middle link. He's the metacurrent, or the one who runs in the middle. He holds the balance between Apollo and Dionysus, between reason and inspiration, between history and myth.
It's not about the person, is it? It's about the function. The middleman who keeps the extremes from destroying each other.
Exactly. Whether he's a god in a tomb or a flicker of inspiration in a desert wasteland, his job is to be the catalyst. He's the one who makes the movement possible.
It's actually quite beautiful. Even when the history fails, the myth keeps running.
That's the enduring power of the deepfake. The truth might change, but the symbol is indestructible. My brain needs a second to untangle that last bit of symbolism.
Same. Let's take a quick breather and grab some water.